Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
And today we're going to continue talking about the world of sausages, a global culinary delight. So sausages are available all over the world, and I suppose we should spend some time talking about the sausages available here in Taiwan. I was a vegetarian for many years, so I don't really know much about the sausages here in Taiwan, but when I first came here, there was a way of eating sausage in which you bought the sausage from some guy selling them at the side of the street, and then you would eat it with a piece of raw garlic. Have you ever had that before?
I never have eaten the Taiwan sausages here with garlic. That's interesting.
There's an interesting flavor. Very, very tasty.
Yeah, I do like the sausages here. I think they're really good. They're not as big. They're kind of small. A version of a Taiwan sausage for me is the gongguantang, which has little meatballs, but that's a form of a sausage. It's minced meat with a lot of fat. Actually, most of the little meatball for the gongguantang is fat, which makes it tasty, but I do enjoy that. But I do like the sausages here in Taiwan.
Okay, so we're going to talk some more about sausages in our program today. We're going to go to Europe and talk about some of the sausages there. We've been to Europe already in Italy and France, but we're going to go to...
Italy and Germany.
Italy and Germany, right.
We're going to France.
We're going to Spain and the UK in our program today. Also, we're going to France, so let's find out what they have to offer in those countries. Let's begin by hearing about chorizo. Spanish chorizo, a cured pork sausage, is celebrated for its bright red color and bold flavor. Its signature color comes from paprika, a key ingredient that gives it a smoky and mildly spicy taste. Chorizo can be enjoyed sliced as a snack, incorporated into stews, or paired with bread. Its strong flavor makes it an essential part of Spanish cuisine, particularly in the iconic seafood paella. Crossing over to the UK, a unique sausage tradition thrives. Black pudding, a type of blood sausage, is a beloved component of traditional British and Irish breakfasts. Crafted from pig's blood, pork fat, and oatmeal, it boasts a crispy exterior and a soft, grainy interior with a rich, savory taste. Moving on to France, we encounter sausages that reflect the country's romantic spirit. The Rosette de Lyon is a delicately seasoned pork sausage flavored with pepper, garlic, and other spices before being air-dried. Its lean texture and subtle seasoning make it perfect for charcuterie boards or to be enjoyed on its own. Another highlight is the andouille, a complex, labor-intensive sausage made by layering pork intestines and slowly smoking them to perfection. Its bold, distinctive flavor pairs perfectly with French apple wine or champagne, offering a true taste of French tradition. Whether cured, fresh, or made from blood, sausages reflect the rich culinary heritage of their regions. So the next time you explore new cuisine, be sure to try the local sausages. They're a delicious gateway to the culture and flavors of that place. Okay, it's time for us to explain the contents of our lesson for today. This is a global culinary delight. It's very tasty in different parts of the world. So if we go to Spain, we're talking about Spanish things like the Spanish language or Spanish food. And in Spain, we've got Spanish chorizo, a cured pork sausage, and it's celebrated for its bright red color and bold flavor. Now, I've had chorizo in Mexico before. Of course, Mexico is a Spanish-speaking country, so of course Spain influenced their food as well in Mexico. And if you're speaking Spanish, the Z there, or the Z, will have kind of a TH sound. Chorizo. But most people, and Mexicans as well, just say chorizo with an S sound. And if you say it that way, people will understand what you're talking about. This is cured pork sausage. It is preserved, and it has this bright red color, and it has bold flavor. Indeed, it is very, very tasty.
Now, why is it so red? Tom, you were asking me about one type of sausage that was white in our previous program. Well, I know the answer to this one. Why is it so bright red? It's not because it's full of blood. No, it's because its signature color comes from a spice called paprika. I've also heard some Brits say paprika, but we usually say paprika in America, and I'm American, so we're going to say it like that. When you talk about something's signature, it's kind of someone's distinctive characteristic or way of doing something. When you have a signature style, it means you have a style that's all your own. If people see you, they can look at your clothes and go, yep, that's the way he usually dresses, or, yeah, that's really her style. So your signature is another word for style. So here, its signature color comes from paprika. I've seen paprika here in Taiwan. I've used it, actually. It's an orange-red color, and it's not spicy, but it's got a little bit of a tang to it. A little bit of a nice, smoky, mildly spicy taste. It does not burn your tongue. It's hardly spicy at all, I would say. But it's right. I like it. Have you had paprika here?
I probably have. Of course, the Chinese translation in my dictionary is kind of vague. It just says Hong La Jiao Fen, paprika. But I'm sure it's more specific than that in its original form. But yes, indeed, it does have this color. It's red and orange, kind of a mix. I was going to ask about this because I haven't had chorizo in many years. But paprika, of course, is an ingredient in chorizo that gives it a smoky and mildly spicy taste. So if you don't like your food to be too spicy, too hot spicy, but you still wanted to have a kind of kick or something, then chorizo might be something you can enjoy. Now, chorizo can be enjoyed sliced as a snack, incorporated into stews or added to stews, or paired with bread. So there are different ways you can enjoy chorizo. Yeah, you can just have slices of chorizo and eat them as a snack by themselves, or maybe with a small piece of bread or a cracker or something like that. And then you can use it in stews. A stew is kind of like a thick soup. And then, of course, you can eat it with bread.
Yeah, stew is a dish that has meat and lots of vegetables, and it's cooked slowly in a big pot for hours. The longer you cook it, the better it tastes. And it even tastes better the next day if you can just not eat it all the first day. But stew's a very popular food, and it's cooked everywhere. We have stew in Taiwan, of course, but my mom's own stew used beef with a lot of potatoes and carrots and onions, and it would cook down and just be so very tasty. So chorizo can be enjoyed sliced as a snack, like salami. I talked about how some people carry salami around with them and eat that as a snack, but it can be put into stews. That's what incorporated into something means. You add something into something already existing, or, as Tom says, paired with bread. Bread and chorizo sounds really delicious.
I think when I had it, it was in tacos or something like that.
Yeah,
so it
me
was
too.
Quite tasty. And again, its strong flavor makes it an essential part of Spanish cuisine, particularly in the iconic seafood paella. Okay, so that's what this is called. It's not paella or something like that. It's paella. Paella. It's kind of hard to say there, but that's how people pronounce it. And of course, if you're talking about the special food of a special place or country, you call it cuisine. I'm going to go have some Hakka cuisine tonight, for example. And this is Spanish cuisine, which would include paella, maybe gazpacho as well. And you might also have smaller portions of tapas, which are often served in bars in Spain, and you can have those with drinks and things like that. They're quite tasty. So yes, indeed, these are all parts of Spanish cuisine. And my goodness, it's making me hungry.
Yeah, and it's part of this really famous seafood dish called paella. If you watch cooking shows like I do, you'll learn about paella. I had never seen it before or eaten it before. It's a Spanish dish. It's usually cooked in something resembling a frying pan. So it's kind of a shallow pan that's cooked on just the stove. And it's got rice, saffron, which is this yellow spice. It could be filled with chicken or seafood. And it's cooked for a while and then served in a shallow pan. which makes the rice on the bottom crispy or kind of crunchy. So it looks really delicious. I would love to have some paella. And like Tom said, it's weird because it's a Spanish word, but even in English, we pronounce it in the Spanish way, paella.
I remember there was a Spanish restaurant down in Kaohsiung many years ago, but I don't know if it's still there. Maybe if it is still there, you can try some paella or Spanish chorizo yourself. And again, we're describing paella as being very iconic. Iconic just means it's kind of symbolic of a certain area. It has a symbol. It is symbolic in nature. I guess we could talk about iconic structures, for example. The Statue of Liberty is an iconic structure in New York City. Or Taipei 101 is iconic here in Taipei. But this, of course, is a distinctive Spanish food called paella. And when you hear the word paella, you immediately think of Spanish food.
You do. Now, guys, we're going to cross over to the UK. And they've got a unique sausage tradition that is still thriving. If something's thriving, it's growing, it's doing very well. It's still very popular. And it's something called black pudding. It's not what you think. A lot of times if you're in the UK and they talk about pudding or puddings, they're talking about desserts in general. This is not a dessert. Black pudding is a type of blood sausage. Yes, it's actually made with blood, and it's a beloved component or part of traditional British and Irish breakfasts. They actually eat it for breakfast in the morning. That's when it's primarily eaten. It's crafted or made from pig's blood, pork fat, and oatmeal, which is a weird ingredient, I think. It boasts or it has a crispy exterior. It kind of looks like a black roll to me. Mm-hmm. And it's not real thick. It's about 2 or 3 inches wide usually. And it's got a crispy outside or exterior. And then in the middle, it's a soft and it's grainy. Grainy because it's got grains in it, guys. Grainy means it's not smooth. Usually if you think of blood, you would think it would be very smooth and, not have any sort of rough texture to it, but it's grainy inside or the interior. And of course, it would have a rich, savory taste. It's not sweet, it's savory, which makes sense because it's made out of blood.
Interesting. So if you go to the UK, you should give that a try to have a sample of the local food there. Again, they serve this in Britain, in Scotland, England, Wales, and also in Ireland there. And again, it's made from all these different ingredients, and it does have this kind of exterior and this grainy interior, which is the inside. And again, it has that savory taste. It doesn't sound very appealing to me, but hey, if you're going to go to those places, you really need to try the local food. So challenge yourself, try the local food, and who knows, you may really love it. And if you come back to Taiwan, you'll probably be thinking, where can I get some blood sausage? I'd really like to have it again.
You might really like it. You should at least give it a taste, give it a try, especially if you're traveling. There used to be a British restaurant right in my neighborhood who had it for one of their breakfast dishes. It just said, the traditional UK breakfast. And of course, it had to include the blood sausage, or blood pudding is what they call it, guys. You want to get the name right. It's blood pudding.
All right. So, of course, there are lots of English people living in Taiwan. Who knows? Maybe they have restaurants which serve this kind of stuff.
Yep.
We're going to go to France in just a couple of seconds here, but right now we're going to take a break and listen to our sausage-loving Chinese teacher.
Hello everyone, 我是 Patrick 老师，今天讲解的是5月20 Unit 10。好，介绍的呢是香肠，这是我们第2天的课文内容。那要一次呢看到3个国家的香肠，有西班牙、英国还有法国。那作者会告诉我们说这些香肠他们是怎么做的，也会告诉我们这些香肠有什么样的吃法。不过我们必须要了解，作者的文笔再好，其实我们看到这些跟食物有关的文章，大概也只能凭空想象。如果要去体会这些美食的味道，一定要自己吃吃看。或许各位听众朋友听完以后呢，如果有垂涎欲滴的感觉， 就上网搜寻一下异国料理餐厅 Eating is believing。 好，那我们一起来看学习重点吧。请看到第一段，这里要介绍的呢是西班牙的香肠。好 Spanish chorizo, a cured pork sausage。 昨天老师已经介绍过 cure 这个词了，跟食物相关的时候，记住不是治疗，而是腌制的意思。好，那这个西班牙的香肠怎么样呢？ It's celebrated for its bright red color。 那请同学把 celebrated for 画起来，这里不是庆祝的意思，而是以什么出名。那西班牙的香肠呢，就是以它非常鲜艳的红色出名。再来，请同学看到第二个句子 Its signature color。 请把这个 signature color 画起来。 Signature 一般而言，我们当然知道说是签名的意思，不过这里并不是哦。那同学可能听过 signature dish， 那指的是一家餐厅的招牌菜。那这里指的当然就是因为这种西班牙香肠它很特别嘛，那所以就是有独特的意思。好，那可以呢理解成 distinctive。 好，再来请同学看到第三个句子 Chorizo can be enjoyed sliced as a snack。 请同学把 slice 画起来，会不会觉得非常的奇怪啊？为什么？这里是被动语菜，所以后面 be 动词加 enjoy 没有错，为什么再加了一个过去分词 slice 呢？请同学注意哦，这其实呢是主词补语。为什么说是主词补语啊？因为这里呢其实是被动语态嘛， slice 所指的也是前面的这个西班牙香肠 chorizo。 好，那这个 chorizo 呢，它是可以切片使用，所以这个 slice 它就是过去分词，拿来修饰前面的这个 chorizo。 好，后面的 incorporated 也是一样的道理，都是因为它要做主词补语，那所以呢后面都是用过去分词来修饰。那 pair 也是一样的道理，可以搭配着这个面包吃。再来请同学看到第二段，要介绍的呢是英国的香肠。英国的香肠有一个很特别的名字哦，它叫 black pudding， 黑布丁。请同学特别注意的是，这是一种血肠，那可以说是在英国也好，或者爱尔兰早餐也好当中很常见的。请看到第三个句子，作者告诉我们这黑布丁到底怎么做的。 Crafted from pig's blood， 不是只有台湾人会吃猪血糕哦，原来这个英国人呢也会拿猪血来做成食物。 Crafted from 所指的呢就是用什么做成的。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. We've been talking about different kinds of sausages in different parts of the world. We went to Spain and talked about chorizo, and we went to the UK to talk about black pudding or blood sausage or blood pudding. I think it can be referred to in different ways there. They're all interesting, and I'd certainly like to try some of them. Well, let's go to France here. Of course, France is known for its cuisine. So moving on to France, we encounter sausages that reflect the country's romantic spirit. So, of course, when you think of the French language, we think of it as being very romantic, okay? So, guys, if you're trying to woo your girlfriend to impress her, hey, memorize some French poetry or something, she will melt into your arms.
Yeah, to woo is a great word. W-O-O, woo someone, just means to be charming and be attractive to them so that they return that attraction. Good luck with that, guys. This particular sausage is called the Rosette de Lyon. It's the rose, of course, of Lyon. Lyon is an area in France, and it's delicately seasoned, and it's pork. I think most of our sausages that we're talking about today are made with pork. Pork has a lot of fat in it, which makes for a really good sausage. Although some sausages, I've seen chefs that make their own sausage from scratch, and they'll take lots of different types of meats and put them together. But this one is delicate, so it's not too strong, which makes sense because France, a lot of French food is delicate. It doesn't have strong flavors like Spain would, or even Italy sometimes has stronger flavors than France. So it's got pepper, garlic, and other spices that are added. And then it's air dried, kind of like salami, where they tie the sausage up. Sausage is put into something called a casing, which is made out of the intestine of an animal. Sometimes it's out of a synthetic material, but it's best to get something that's natural. Don't eat the synthetic stuff or man-made stuff if you can avoid it. But they put that sausage into the casing, that tube that holds its shape, and then they tie it up and it's air dried.
Okay, so here we've got this kind of French sausage that is prepared in a special way. Its lean texture and subtle seasoning make it perfect for charcuterie boards or to be enjoyed on its own. So, of course, if you're talking about French cuisine, you got to get used to saying a lot of fancy words. And here's something called a charcuterie board. Charcuterie. And I think that is something where you serve all these meats together, sort of like a meat plate, I guess, sort of. Is that what it is?
Yeah. So it's pronounced, guys, in a weird way. It's charcuterie boards. I didn't know what it was either until I started watching cooking shows, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
And there was someone who was really an expert at charcuterie. She owned her own charcuterie shop, which meant she sold cold, cooked meats like sausages. Sausages are the primary meat you would eat on a charcuterie board. It's actually a board that has just different cold cooked meats laid out, and you can eat them. It's kind of like an antipasto platter, right? A platter is a big dish as well. But you would find a lot of these different types of sausages on charcuterie boards. You can eat them with other meats, or you can eat the rosette de Lyon by itself. It's lean. So if something's lean and you're talking about a sausage, it means it doesn't have as much fat in it. I prefer fatty sausages because they taste better. But, you know, it's a personal preference, whatever you like. Subtle seasoning is something subtle. It's very delicate. It's hard to pick up or see or hear or taste. If someone is very subtle in expressing their opinion to you, it means it's not very strong. It's kind of maybe even weak. It's hard. You have to pay attention if someone's being subtle and giving you subtle signals. It means you have to really pay attention. But this is subtle seasoning. It's not too strong. And you can just enjoy it on its own or with other kinds of sausages.
Right. So I guess the seasoning's not so strong, and you have to sort of eat it for a while to appreciate the flavorings there. They're not so obvious. They're more subtle. And yes, indeed, these are different ways you can enjoy this. And another highlight is the andouille, a complex, labor-intensive sausage made by layering pork intestines and slowly smoking them to perfection. So this is another fancy French word, andouille. I think I learned ratatouille from an old Pixar movie, Ratatouille.
Ratatouille, which is a stew.
A stew, indeed.
Yeah.
I think it actually has sausage in there, or at least
it does,
what they showed in this particular movie certainly looked like sausage to me.
Uh-huh.
And yes, this andouille, not the same as ratatouille, but andouille has a complex, labor-intensive. Well, it is a complex, labor-intensive sausage, and made a special way here. If something's labor-intensive, it takes a lot of work to prepare. Okay, some kinds of sausage are pretty easy to prepare. You just kind of squeeze the meat into that casing and cook it or whatever, and you're good to go. But here you got to do all sorts of things. There are many different kinds of steps involved. So if you have this in France, it's probably going to be a little more expensive than your everyday ordinary sausage. So it is labor intensive. And this is how it's made. It is layered with pork intestines, and then this is slowly smoked to perfection. Intestines are part of the digestive system of an animal. Of course, humans have the large intestines and the small intestines. So these are the little tubes in the stomach of a pig. After the stomach, I hope their internal arrangement is the same as humans here. But yeah, intestines, those are just part of the digestive tract.
Yeah, it's where we eat our food, it goes down to the intestines, and then it's changed into energy that our body can use. And they use these layered pork intestines and they slowly smoke them to perfection. Perfection just means trying to have as few flaws or problems or defects as possible in something. If something's perfect, it doesn't have any defects, at least has very few of them. And if you say someone does something to perfection, you're giving them a high compliment. You're saying they're doing it almost perfectly. So it's got a bold, distinctive flavor, and you can pair it perfectly or eat it together nicely with French apple wine or champagne, or as they say, champagne. But we are doing the English pronunciation in that champagne. Champagne is only grown in a certain part or region in France. If it's grown elsewhere, it is illegal to call it champagne. So this is a special sausage that is meant to be paired with or eaten along with champagne, drinking champagne. And this offers a true taste of French tradition.
I had no idea they had apple wine in France. I'd love to try it. And here in the final paragraph it says, whether cured, fresh, or made from blood, sausages reflect the rich culinary heritage of their regions. So again, this is a common pattern that we use when we wrap up an article. Whether it's this or whether it's that, the other thing is true, okay, or this is still true. So yes, if you have it cured, fresh, or made from blood, they still can reflect the culinary heritage of their regions. Like here in Taiwan, they might have different kinds of sausages in different parts of Taiwan. Maybe the ones in Geelong are different from the ones in Kaohsiung or whatever. You can talk about that amongst yourselves. I'm sure there's lots to talk about there. So the next time you explore new cuisine, be sure to try the local sausages. They're a delicious gateway to the culture and flavors of that place.
Yeah, so what's a gateway? It's an entry to a place. It's a means of accessing something. I remember I saw a commercial that said that Taiwan was the gateway to Asia. So if you fly through Taiwan, we welcome you to stay in Taiwan, but it's also a means or a way of accessing other parts of Asia. You could stop over in Taiwan, change planes, and move on to another country. So yeah, they're a delicious gateway to the culture and flavors of a particular region. Don't miss out on the sausages when you go traveling abroad or even stay here in Taiwan and go to different regions around the island.
Yeah, I think I'm going to head to Dihua Street in Taipei here because I know a lot of those stores sell different kinds of sausages. So I think I'll go down there and check it out. And of course, there are other places that sell this stuff as well. Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation for today. Let's listen now to our Chinese teacher.
再来，请同学呢看到第3段，我们要看到的是法国香肠了。那法国大家想到都是非常的浪漫嘛，没有错，法国的香肠也非常的浪漫。他们有一个特别的名字，叫里昂玫瑰香肠。请同学看到第2个句子。It's a delicately seasoned pork sausage. 请把 seasoned 画起来。Season 老师之前介绍过，这是调味的意思。那由于呢，它现在要修饰后面的这个 pork sausage 猪肉香肠，那它是被腌制的，所以我们用的是过去分词。前面要修饰它的时候呢，我们就要用副词了，所以 delicate 才会加上 ly， 精心调味的。好，再来，请同学看到第3个句子。那同样是 season 这个字，为什么这里是加上 ing 呢？请同学不要搞混咯，注意它的位置，它在动词 make 前面，动词的前面是主词的位置，所以这里的 seasoning 它其实呢是名词用，所以这是动名词啊，这个不是现在分词。不是现在分词当形容词，它所指的呢就是调味的这件事情哦。那也就是呢，因为里昂玫瑰香肠它的口感哦，其实都是瘦肉嘛，那它的调味呢是非常的精致细致的 subtle seasoning， 很微妙的调味。好，再来我们看到第4个句子 好，第4个句子呢，要讲到法国香肠，还有另外一个非常有名的就是内脏香肠。这种香肠有什么特点呢？It's complex, it's labor intensive. 请同学把 labor intensive 画起来，所指的当然就是你要去制作这种香肠哦，很费工，其实就是台语非常生动的搞纲的意思。所以我们要表达搞纲的话呢，在英文里面就讲 labor intensive， 这样就可以了。那再来，我们看到第5个句子，再次提醒大家，我们如果要讲配着什么吃很好吃，那你可以说 pair with something， 配着什么吃。好，最后一段，第4段做一个总结了。那这些香肠呢，它们都是属于什么呢？ Culinary heritage。好，请同学把这个 culinary 画起来。Culinary 跟这种烹调跟食物的烹制有关的，我们都可以呢用 culinary 这个形容词。好，再来，最后看到的是第2个句子。如果我们想要了解一个文化，其实饮食是一个非常便捷的途径，对吧？那请看到第2个句子，这里讲到的，原来香肠是一个 delicious gateway。gateway 我们当然可以理解成是入口，不过呢，这里其实也就是方便我们了解文化的途径。好，以上就是我们针对 sausage 这篇文章所做的中文讲解。See you next time.
Okay, that's all the time we have for today. Everybody, check out some sausages from different parts of the world and check out our extra content on YouTube and Facebook. We look forward to seeing you again next time. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
See ya.